Sorry, there are things kind of happening around me which I'm afraid may briefly interfere with my casting. So, yeah, sorry if that actually happens. No, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Alright. Hello, everybody. I am Hacklebeast, joined today with Elegant to close out the regular season of the Swedish Brood War Initiative Nation Wars. And oh dear. Wallace is doing
Are we all
something.
right?
No, Wallace is doing something.
Am I still here?
You're still here. Ooh.
Okay.
We tested this before and we had no lag issues. Um,
Yeah, it's literally just started lagging now, and I
yeah.
can't hear you properly. What the?
Oh, you can't hear me?
Not properly. You're all like, you sound like a weird robot.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna keep talking because I
Yeah, no, that's
assume
cool.
I sound good to everybody else, and when you figure that
Yeah.
out, you can join back in. We have Eastern Europe versus Russia, and whoops, he's not Djem, he is Djem5. So, on the right side is Wallace as the red Protoss. On the left side is Djem5 as the purple Protoss, and Wallace. Wow, Wallace.
Yeah.
There
Some
are
crazy cheese.
Yeah, there are lots of places you could put proxies on this map. It's certainly not a whoa, that was a big one. Certainly not a certainly not a very safe map in that regard. But Wallace isn't going to go for any of the cute places you can put proxies, and he just puts it right in the main. This is definitely a map you could even horror gate on if you wanted to go for the mana
Yeah.
pylon, but he's not even going to do that. He's just going to
Oh.
throw it on gateways.
That's kind of a horror gate in that if this works, it's going to be hideously embarrassing for Gen 5. I know Gen 5 is good, so this shouldn't work. But Wallace has actually managed to get the gateway down, which is a pretty worrying step. So it all comes down to Gen 5's micro now and how he deals with it. Of course, his gateway is slightly ahead of time, so that may have a major effect. And a second gateway going down as well for Wallace.
Yeah, I mean, with certain cheeses, a lot of the power of the cheese comes from the sneakiness of it. It's
Yep.
you don't see it coming, you don't do the right build, and then it just you overwhelmed by 8 links. But in this case, there is no sneakiness. Quite obviously, Wallace could not have made it any more obvious. What Wallace
No.
is saying is, I think my micro is so much better than yours that not only can I beat your zealots, I can overcome the fact that you can probe drill.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is actually going to pan out because that gateway, it looks like Gen 5
Yeah.
is actually quite on top of how many probes he needs to
Uh,
use. I don't know if the zealot's going to get out.
Boy. Yeah, that connection's kind of getting bad now.
Yeah,
Alright.
it's really, really horrible. I'm sorry about that, but I have no control over it.
Yes. All right. We'll stick it out. Hopefully, it gets a little bit better from here. Anyway, first gateway goes down, and Wallace immediately rebuilds it, but he'll be on one gateway compared to two, at least for one zealot cycle here. And once you start to get behind in the zealot numbers, you don't really have a chance to come back up to to make it even from this situation. Yeah. By chance, are you still there, Elegant? It does not sound like he is still there.
It's not really happening.
Oh, hello.
Oh, am I still here?
You are back.
Well, okay. Let's take this out. It's any better. Um,
Yeah. Shame. Alright. Forced to drop Elegant from the game. Yeah, I really hope that we can get him back later. That's the reason I'm casting today, was because Elegant's internet was too terrible for him to cast himself. We were hoping it was at least good enough to get a Skype call going, but apparently can't quite do that either. Anyway, Wallace having a lot of issues here. Losing his losing all of his initial zealots is now it's 2-gate versus 2-gate, but he's gonna lose the pylon here, and can he? He's not even gonna have enough time to get out the next wave of zealots. Another probe's coming. It's gotta rebuild the pylon, but no, this is too much for Wallace, I think. He is a little bit ahead in the supply count right now, but that probably won't last very long. 3 zealots going to attack Wallace. Oh, Djem actually would really like to try to pick off that probe, prevent it from throwing down the pylon. Alright. Well, couldn't stop him from throwing down the pylon. It's... Yeah, I'm elegant confirming that it doesn't look like it's going to work out, which is a real shame. He's going to try to throw down that pylon. With both of these pylons here, it might be powered long enough to get the 2 zealots out, and then immediately use them. But by bringing the probe over, it does buy him enough time to at least get a cannon up. At least 1 cannon. To potentially keep him safe for whenever Djem does attack. And it looks like he's not even going to bring the zealots back. Yeah, Wallace had 2 options there. He could either just go for the attack with the 2 zealots and try to make something big happen on the probe line, or he could just run away, go back home, and have a couple of zealots to help out. Ooh. Mistake from Wallace there, building the pylon too far away to power this gateway. Man, and Wallace is just going to keep going after probes. He hasn't suffered any probe damage yet. These 2 zealots came in, but as you can... Oh, that one has 2 kills. I don't think there are any probe kills, though. I think that Wallace is paying enough attention to not lose any like that. And throwing down another pylon. I hope it powers this one. I mean, he just ran into that problem a little while ago. That one will certainly power both. I'm pretty sure this one will, too. Man. While Wallace hasn't had any direct hits to the economy, in terms of probe count, he has sacrificed a lot of money into pylons. This is, like, what, pylon number 6 that's going to be killed? I'm trying to make more zealots, just producing pylons at a rate faster than the zealots can kill him, but he's not making any progress doing this. Not really. He really would like to get these zealots out. I don't think this one can get out. Nah, he cancels it. This one might? No. Not quite. And you should cancel that to get a little bit of money back. Now we're rebuilding gateways in his own base. So, Djem is at 30 supply, Wallace is at 20 supply. That's a pretty steep supply lead to overcome. As Djem clears up the last gateway, I do want to recap our standings. I do want to recap our standings for what the playoff picture looks like. So, there are 3 games left. There is this game, Eastern Europe versus Russia. Eastern Europe versus Asia Pacific. The postponed game from week 1. And Asia Pacific versus Poland. That's it for this group. There's 3 games left. Eastern Europe, they can clinch a playoff spot if they win both of their games, but they need to win by certain amounts. If they sweep Russia here, 6-0, and then beat Asia Pacific with any score, they are in. If they sweep Asia Pacific and beat Russia 5-1 or 6-0, they're in. If they sweep Asia Pacific and they beat Russia 4-2, not enough. It's not quite enough. And the other way they get in is if Poland loses. If Poland loses and Eastern Europe wins both of their games, they're guaranteed in. I think there might even be some scenarios where Asia Pacific loses and Eastern Europe goes 1-1. They can still get in, but that's pretty extreme for Eastern Europe to be going 1-1 and Poland to lose to Asia Pacific. From Russia's perspective, they just need to not lose 4-2. Or worse than 4-2. If they lose this 2-4, they're still in the playoffs. They're fine. That's all they need to do. just win 2 of these games. If they don't win 2 of these games, then they need help from other people, but 2 wins for Russia shouldn't be too hard. And from Poland's perspective, if they win and Russia wins, they're in for sure. If they win and Russia loses, then it becomes a differential game again. And there's a way that Poland could win versus Asia Pacific, but still be eliminated from the playoffs because Eastern Europe beat Russia too hard. It kind of gets messy. But really, the simplest way to look at it is Eastern Europe needs to win 2 games, and they need to win them big to get into the playoffs. Asia Pacific needs to win 1 game, and they're almost certainly in. Russia needs to win this game, and they're certainly in. They need to get 2 wins in this set, and they're certainly in. That's the best way to think about it. There are exceptions, but yeah. So, Djem finally mustered up his army, sending it in. Yeah. There's some cannons here that will help. Not so much against the Dragoons, because the Dragoons will be able to outrange a lot of these buildings compared to the cannons. But it does help keep the Zealots away from Wallace's goons. And, well, Wallace is actually doing a pretty good job here. That cannon is managing to dish out a lot of damage here. And it's been brought back to 4 goons versus 4 goons. So Wallace will be able to live here. And Djem doesn't have a huge supply lead anymore. Djem has a very moderate supply lead, in fact. Very interesting. Wallace, there goes the Templar archives. Unfortunately, he only has 42 gas in the bank, so he needs to rebuild the assimilator and mine 1 thing of gas. Oh, wait. No, I can't count gas. He needs to rebuild the assimilator and mine a little bit more gas to be able to get out a DT. Otherwise, this building is just useless. Over on the other side, Djem's getting the observatory, so DT's not going to be too helpful either, and now getting the robo support. I would really cancel that. I would have really canceled that to be able to conserve gas to put into making goons. I mean, it's an extra 200 gas. Well, no, cancel building. So 150 gas, though? That's 3 Dragoons. Or Zealot leg speed. Both of those would have been really helpful. But right now the Templar Archives does not help him at all. Alright. Wallace going out for another attack here. He will be able to get the Zealots in and getting some shots off on the goons. They are tanking a lot of shots. Is the probe count enough to overcome the goon odds? It's looking like it is. Djem's trying to micro away with his goons, but his huge goon army has evaporated away. And now he's actually at a goon disadvantage? Wallace is going to be able to survive here? Really? Well, so Wallace isn't in a good position by any means. I don't like his tech compared to Djem's. I do like Djem's Robo more than I do Wallace's Templar Archives. And Djem has an expansion, but you're considering the start of this game, he's now behind by like 10 supply. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. I would be ecstatic about this if I was Wallace. Man. And Wallace is even going to go in for the attack now. Djem's supply lead, a lot of it comes from probes. So Wallace might actually be able to do something here. Oh, Wallace moving in, getting the advantage on the ramp. And Wallace is playing this very smartly right now. Dragoons are getting isolated out, being pursued by Zealots. The other Dragoons are just being held at the top of the ramp and are not killed off. What? I'm so confused right now. How is this happening? The attack's finally over. But Wallace killed a lot. Oh, maybe it's not over. Maybe he's bringing in some more Zealots. Wallace has already killed a lot, and there were some probe deaths in there. Oh, but there's a Reaver now. Now it's time to leave. Now it's runaway time. Okay. Okay. That is the stealthiest Dragoon I've ever seen. He just... I don't know. He pulled out his mineral camouflage. Two DTs coming out. One of them to chase the goons. One of them back to the base. There is an observer here. So that thing's gonna die. But over on the other side, there is no observer with this... Oh, yes there is. Here's the observer. So, yeah, DT's not being very effective right now. Ooh. Okay. Wallace, he's playing really smartly there for a while, but now, throwing away DTs, throwing away goons like that, that's... I mean, his army would be a lot stronger right now if instead of 3 goons, it was 5 goons and 2 DTs. Alright. Making some nice picks there, and we have a 5-on-5 engagement, but some of Wallace's goons cannot get in there, so an advantage goes to Djem, especially as he brings in the reinforcements. Wallace gotta play greedy and take that Nexus, but was it a little bit too greedy? Was it just a little bit too greedy now, as he's going to be losing a lot of probes? Ooh, yeah, that's a lot. Wallace GG. That... Okay. Ignoring the first 4 minutes, if we ignore the first 4 minutes, pretty solid play from Wallace. Pretty dang solid play from Wallace in that game. Let me... Let me just ask Elegant if he wants to give it one more shot, cause considering that we've both been casting this tour for 6 weeks now, we have not co-casted anywhere near as much as we should have. Anywhere close to as much as we should have. So, I'd really like him here. I was all excited to have a co-commentator. Man, but that's not going to work out. Like, I'm just looking at his Skype. He's not even receiving the Skype message. That's a shame. That's a shame. Alright. Alright. So, let me scoot this up now. Let's move it to the next game. We have, as the yellow Protoss in the top left, Djem. And in the bottom left is the white Protoss is Wallace. And 7, and Control X, and Control V. And 11, and priority, and use, and unuse, and go. Alright. Okay. So, Wallace, no horror gates. Pretty nice. Pretty nice right now. Oh, we do have Djem with a little bit of an early scout. Not horribly early, but in PvP, you can get away with not going for that early of a scout. Considering, though, what Wallace did last game, completely reasonable to send out the early scout. Check the center. Wow, excuse me. Hello, Missouri. You should play more. Team Poland could really use you. Anyhow. Alright. I really think that Wallace did a good job last game. A great job almost overcoming the deficit. He made some great plays with the goons. He kind of dealt with the... He didn't even really have good tech. The DT tech just didn't work out for him at all. But if he had just stuck with the goons or gone for speed lots, he would have been more successful there. And I think that in this game, where he doesn't feel compelled to go for the DTs, and he won't have a huge economic disadvantage, I'm excited to see what he can do. Alright. Anyway, both players with 1 gate core. And we do have a scouting probe in here for Djem. Excuse me. And one for Wallace as well. Neither player with too many quick zealots here. Djem doesn't look like he built any at all. Just going straight for the Dragoons. Wallace at least built 1 to help deal with the manor pylon. And we have a sneaky probe. Just skirting the outside here. Looks like Wallace is going to get out of there before the first goon comes out. Just a little bit ahead of schedule, but good job keeping it alive. Still waiting to see the first of the tech. We have a second gateway for Djem, and now Wallace is getting Manor Pyloned a second time, and he's throwing down his second gateway as well a little bit late. That might almost be a reaction. If you get Manor Pyloned twice, it usually means that your opponent wants to be aggressive, even if it's this late into the game, where Manor Pylons are not quite as common. Still makes you feel a little bit less confident about going for that 1 gate robo. Yeah, I also would have liked a co-commentator. It's a shame that England just has permanently shitty internet, apparently. Should go get the Queen's Terriers on that. Put them to use running kilobytes back and forth across the English countryside. I'm pretty sure that is how both dogs and internet work. Pretty confident on that one. Alright. So, in fact, Djem does want to be aggressive, and we see him going up to 4 gates. 4-gate goon, and adding range onto that. Wallace has 3 gate... Nope, there's a 4th gateway for him. 4-gate versus 4-gate. What is this? What is this? Alright. Any game where any game where you can have a matchup that devolves into 4 gateways versus 4 gateways, that doesn't seem like it's a very good game. It's a good thing that doesn't happen too often in Brood War. It's a good thing. So, I don't know. Djem obviously was the instigator on this. He went for the gateways first, and he wanted to go 4-gate. I feel like Wallace's was a little bit more of reaction. Oh, he should back up. Backup time. Backup time. Backup time. That is not backing up. That is quite the opposite of backing up. Wallace. Wallace, he clicked like here to run away too. So the goons. Oh, Wallace! Alright. Yeah. So I was saying that I think Wallace would have been better off getting a Robo, and would have been better off going DTs than countering the 4-gate with the 4-gate. Especially since he's going to be behind now. This isn't going to be good. Well, you know, not as bad as I thought it'd be right now. Wallace actually, like, pushed Djem back a little bit. Here comes more reinforcements for Djem, so that's not good. And trying to micro. Now running into the natural. Those things are trapped. Nope. A little bit of micro from Djem. Gonna keep that goon alive. And we do have a Robo from Wallace. Okay. You can hardly produce goons off of 4 gateways. Off of 1 base. You can't do goons and reavers off of 1 base. It doesn't work. And that's a lot of money. That's 200 invested into a building that's not going to help you at all. Oh. Apparently, he didn't know that it was going to be a 4-gate. Alright. I guess it's just a little bit slower of a 4-gate. Well, that kind of explains why he was so aggressive with the goons then. If you were doing a 4-gate defensively, he wouldn't have gone in there, because he would have known that his opponent had equal, if not more, goons at that point. Yeah, but now this isn't going so well. Once again, Wallace finds him, so... Oh, wow. Okay, that's actually worse of a supply deficit than it was before, by about 30. Man. Yeah, and it really just came down to, at the very beginning, throwing away 3 goons by not running away the right direction. And then just snowballed from there. It all came down to just that one small mistake. And there's just no hope for Wallace to recover from that, based on the builds you were going for. Djem, that's not 0. Djem wins 2-0 very quickly, puts Russia on the board 1-0. Okay. So, Eastern Europe, not going to sweep. Not going to be sweeping Russia. Which is not good for them. It means that right now, Eastern Europe needs to win 11 games in a row. Eastern Europe